The hospital room smelled of antiseptic and dying dreams. Amara Okafor sat beside her mother's bed, holding a hand that had grown too thin, watching the monitors beep their steady countdown. 3 months. That's what the doctors had said. 3 months unless they could afford the treatment in Singapore. The number on the estimate sheet might as well have been $1 billion. $850,000. Her mother's eyes fluttered open, the same warm brown that Amara saw in her own reflection, now dulled by pain and medication. "Amara, my love," her mother whispered in Igbo, her voice barely audible over the hum of machines. Promise me I'll see you married before I go." The words pierced through Amara's chest like a blade. At 27, marriage had been the last thing on her mind. Her struggling fashion boutique in Itaewon barely kept her afloat. Most days, she chose between eating and paying rent. The Nigerian community in Seoul was small, and the eligible men even smaller. "Mama, don't talk like that. You're going to be fine," Amara lied, her throat tight. "We'll find a way." "There is no way, NUAM. Her mother's grip strengthened slightly. "Unless God sends a miracle." Amara left the hospital as the sun set over Seoul, painting the sky in shades of amber and blood. She walked through Gangnam, past the glittering towers of wealth and power, feeling like a ghost, haunting a world she'd never truly belonged to. Her phone buzzed. Another overdue rent notice, another supplier demanding payment. She didn't notice the black Mercedes following her until it pulled up beside her. The window rolled down, revealing a man in his 50s, distinguished in an expensive suit that probably cost more than her entire year's rent. His face was stern, calculating, the face of someone used to getting exactly what he wanted. "Miss Okafor," he said in perfect English, "I'm Chairman Kang. I believe we have something to discuss that could benefit us both." Amara's heart hammered. She knew that name. Everyone in Seoul knew that name. Kang Industries, tech empire, billionaire family, untouchable power. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said, stepping back. "Your mother, St. Mary's Hospital, room 407, stage 4, 3 months without treatment." His eyes were cold, factual. "Get in the car, Miss Okafor. I'm offering you a miracle." Meanwhile, across the city, Kang Jihoon stood in his penthouse office on the 63rd floor of the Kang Industries Tower, looking down at the city he controlled with invisible strings. At 33, he'd built an empire on top of his father's empire, legitimate business fronting for Seoul's most sophisticated, underground luxury trade network. Art, gems, antiquities, all moving through channels so clean, even the prosecutors who suspected couldn't touch him. His reflection in the floor-to-ceiling window showed what the world saw. Sharp jawline, intense dark eyes, black hair styled perfectly, a face that graced magazine covers and boardrooms with equal power. What they didn't see were the scars hidden beneath his tailored Tom Ford suit. What they couldn't know was the truth he'd spent a decade protecting. "The rumors are getting worse," Min Seok said from behind him, his oldest friend and the only person Jihoon truly trusted. "They're saying you're gay," Jihoon finished, his voice flat. "I know. It's perfect. Your father is losing patience. The board is questioning your ability to produce an heir. And that scandal with Yuna," Jihoon's jaw tightened at the name. Yuna, the woman whose death 5 years ago had changed everything. The woman whose memory kept him locked in a cage of his own making. "Father wants me married," Jihoon said. It wasn't a question. He's already found someone, a Nigerian woman, desperate, in debt, with a dying mother. He's offering her a deal she can't refuse. Jihoon turned from the window, his expression unreadable. How long? 1 year. After that, quiet divorce, generous settlement. She gets her mother's treatment, debt cleared, and a comfortable life. You get the board off your back and the rumors controlled. And she thinks I'm gay. Min Seok shifted uncomfortably. The whole city thinks you're gay, Jihoon. That's the point, isn't it? It's safer that way. Jihoon walked to his desk, opening a drawer and pulling out a file. Amara Okafor's face stared back at him from the photo. Dark brown skin glowing with life, natural hair in an elegant twist, eyes that held both strength and vulnerability. 27. Fashion designer. Struggling but proud. Nigerian. Beautiful in a way that made something long dormant stir in his chest. Does she know? Jihoon asked quietly. Only that you're gay, and it's a business arrangement. Nothing more. Good. Jihoon closed the file, his decision made. Set up the meeting. But Min Seok... His voice dropped to something dangerous. Make sure she understands the rules. This marriage is real on paper only. She stays out of my private life. I stay out of hers. No questions, no complications. And if she asks about the rumors, a ghost of something, pain, regret, dark amusement, crossed Jihoon's face. Let her believe what everyone else believes. It's better that way. What Jihoon didn't say, what he couldn't admit even to himself, was that the moment he'd seen Amara's photo, something had cracked in the walls he'd built. For the first time in 5 years, since Yuna's death, he'd felt something other than numbness, and that terrified him more than any enemy ever could. 2 days later, Amara sat across from Kang Jihoon in a private room at the Seoul and understood why they called him untouchable. He was beautiful in a way that seemed almost cruel. Sharp features, pale skin, eyes so dark they seemed to absorb light. He wore all black, expensive and perfectly tailored, and he looked at her like she was a contract to be signed, not a woman to be married. 1 year, he said, his voice deep and controlled. After that, we divorce quietly. You'll receive 10 million won monthly. Your mother's treatment is fully covered in Singapore, and all your debts cleared. In exchange, you play the role of my wife in public. Private lives remain separate. Because you're gay, Amara said, the words bitter on her tongue. Something flickered in his eyes. Amusement? Anger? It was gone before she could identify it. Is that a problem for you, Miss Okafor? No, she said honestly. It actually makes this easier. No expectations. No complications. Precisely. He slid a contract across the table. Sign this, and your mother gets on a plane to Singapore tomorrow. Amara's hand trembled as she reached for the pen. This was insane. She was selling herself into a fake marriage with a man rumored to be gay, a billionaire with eyes like winter and a reputation for being untouchable. But her mother's face flashed in her mind, weak, fading, running out of time. She signed. Jihoon's expression didn't change, but his eyes tracked the movement of her hand with an intensity that made her skin prickle. Welcome to the family, Mrs. Kang, he said, and something in the way he said it made it sound less like a greeting and more like a warning. The wedding was 3 days later, a private ceremony, so cold and efficient, it felt more like a corporate merger than a marriage? Would you risk everything to save someone you love, even if it meant marrying a stranger with dangerous secrets? Let me know in the comments. If you're already hooked and can't wait to see how this dangerous love story unfolds, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me what you think will happen next. Trust me, this story is about to get even more intense. Now, let's continue. The wedding was a spectacle of cold efficiency. Amara stood in a cream Vera Wang dress that Mrs. Kang, her new mother-in-law, had selected without asking her opinion, in a private room at the Shilla Hotel, surrounded by people she didn't know. The ceremony lasted exactly 17 minutes. Jihoon slid a platinum ring onto her finger with hands that didn't tremble, said his vows in a voice devoid of emotion, and kissed her cheek with lips that might as well have been marble. "Smile," he murmured against her skin, so quietly only she could hear. "They're watching." Amara smiled. She'd gotten good at pretending over the years. Pretending her boutique was thriving. Pretending she wasn't drowning. Pretending her heart wasn't breaking every time she saw her mother fade a little more. What was one more pretense? The reception was worse. Seoul's elite circled like beautiful sharks, their eyes assessing, judging, finding her wanting. She caught the whispers. Nigerian? Where did he find her? Desperate for the green card, probably. Well, it's not like the marriage is real anyway. Chairman Kang approached her as Jihoon was pulled away by business associates. The old man's eyes were calculating, cold. "You'll maintain appropriate distance from my son in private," he said, his voice low. "The marriage is for appearances only. Jihoon has his preferences. I trust you understand." "I understand perfectly," Amara replied, her spine straight despite feeling like she was drowning. "This is a business arrangement, nothing more." "Good. Your mother is already en route to Singapore. The best doctors, private room. Consider it your signing bonus." He paused. "Disappoint this family, and you'll discover that what we give, we can also take away." The threat was clear. Amara nodded, her throat tight. That night, she stood in the master bedroom of Jihoon's Hanamdong penthouse, a sprawling glass and steel fortress overlooking the Han River, wondering what fresh hell she'd walked into. The space was immaculate, minimalist, expensive. Everything in shades of black, white, and gray. It felt like living inside a beautiful tomb. "You'll take the east wing," Jihoon said from the doorway, making her jump. He'd removed his jacket, rolled up his shirt sleeves. For the first time, she noticed a scar on his forearm. Thin, deliberate, old. "I'm in the west. We share the main living areas, but our private spaces remain separate." "Of course," Amara said. "I wouldn't dream of intruding." "Minseok will coordinate our public appearances. We need to be seen together at least twice a week. Dinners, galas, board events. Learn to play the role convincingly." "I can act," Amara said, more sharply than intended. "I've been doing it my whole life." Something flickered in his eyes. Interest, maybe. "Have you?" Before she could respond, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his entire demeanor shifted, softened in a way that made him look almost human. "I need to take this," he said, already turning away. "Minseok will be here in the morning to go over your schedule." He disappeared into the west wing, and Amara heard his voice drift back, warm and affectionate in a way she hadn't heard yet. Hey you, miss me already? Her stomach twisted. So the rumors were true. He had someone, a man, presumably, who made him sound like that. Human, capable of warmth. She was truly alone in this gilded cage. The next morning, Amara woke to find Min Seok in the kitchen, making coffee with the efficiency of someone who'd done it 1,000 times. He was handsome in a softer way than Jihoon. Warm eyes, easy smile, the kind of person who put you at ease immediately. He wore casual clothes, moved through the space like he owned it. "Mrs. Kang," he said, offering her a cup. "I hope you slept well." "It's Amara," she said, accepting the coffee. "And I barely slept at all." "Understandable. It's a lot to process." He pulled out a tablet. "Let's go over your new life, shall we?" Over the next hour, Min Seok outlined her transformation. Personal shopper arriving at noon. Korean language tutor starting tomorrow. Etiquette coach for navigating high society. Her boutique would be upgraded, moved to a prime Gangnam location, fully funded, rebranded as Mrs. Kang's personal project. "We're erasing your struggle," Min Seok said gently, creating the narrative of a fairy tale. "Even though everyone knows it's fake," Amara said bitterly. Min Seok paused. "What do you know about Jihoon? That he's gay, that this is an arrangement, that I'm essentially an expensive prop in his performance. Jihoon is," Min Seok chose his words carefully, "complicated. The rumors serve a purpose. They protect him. From what? That's not my story to tell." Min Seok's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, smiled softly. "He's asking if you've eaten. Shall I tell him you're managing?" Amara blinked. "He's asking about me. He asks every morning, part of the performance." But something in Min Seok's expression suggested it might be more than that. That evening, Amara learned what public appearance meant in Kang Jihoon's world. The gala was at the Paradise City Hotel. Seoul's elite gathered in designer gowns and million-won watches, champagne flowing like water. Jihoon appeared in a black tuxedo that should have been illegal, his hair styled back, looking every inch the untouchable billionaire. "Ready?" he asked, offering his arm. Amara wore an emerald gown that the stylist had selected. It hugged her curves, made her dark skin glow. She'd caught Jihoon's eyes linger on her for a fraction of a second before his mask snapped back into place. "As I'll ever be," she said. His arm was solid beneath her hand as they entered. Cameras flashed, whispers erupted. Seoul's most eligible bachelor, now married to an unknown Nigerian designer. The scandal was delicious. Jihoon played his role perfectly, attentive but not affectionate, protective but distant. His hand stayed on her lower back, guiding her through conversations with business associates and socialites. When an older woman made a thinly veiled racist comment about Amara's exotic beauty, Jihoon's eyes went arctic. "My wife," he said, his voice cutting, "is the most beautiful woman in this room. I suggest you adjust your tone, Mrs. Park, or find yourself explaining to your husband why Kang Industries is withdrawing from your real estate development project." The woman paled and retreated. Amara stared at Jihoon. "You didn't have to do that," she whispered. "Yes," he said quietly, something fierce in his expression. "I did. You're a Kang now. No one disrespects you." For a moment, their eyes locked, and Amara felt something electric pass between them, something that had no business existing in a fake marriage to a gay man. "Jihoon!" a voice called out. and a stunning Korean woman in red approached. She was elegant, sophisticated, and looked at Jihoon with barely concealed longing. Yuna's sister, Minseok murmured in Amara's ear, appearing beside her. Be careful. So this is your wife, the woman said, her smile not reaching her eyes. How unexpected. Tell me, Mrs. Kang, do you know why Jihoon really married you? Jihoon's hand tightened on Amara's back. Soyeon, don't. What? Soyeon's eyes glittered with malice. She should know the truth about what you are, shouldn't she? Or are you still pretending? Enough. Jihoon's voice was deadly quiet. This conversation is over. He steered Amara away, his jaw clenched tight. They ended up on a balcony overlooking Seoul's glittering skyline, the night air cool against her heated skin. I'm sorry, Jihoon said finally. Soyeon is complicated. Who is Yuna? Amara asked. Jihoon's entire body went rigid. That's not your concern. If it affects this arrangement, it is my concern. He turned to her then, and for the first time, she saw past the ice to the pain beneath. Yuna was the woman I was supposed to marry 5 years ago. She died because of me. That's all you need to know. Jihoon, this marriage is temporary, Amara. Don't mistake public protection for private connection. I'm not capable of giving you anything real. He moved closer, his voice dropping to something almost desperate. Do you understand? She should have been relieved, should have been grateful for the boundaries. Instead, looking into his haunted eyes, she felt her heart crack for this beautiful, broken man who thought he was beyond redemption. I understand, she lied, because in that moment, Amara Okafor realized she was in terrible danger. Not from Jihoon's world, but from Jihoon himself. The arrangement was supposed to be simple, but nothing about Kang Jihoon was simple. 3 weeks into the marriage, Amara's life had transformed into something unrecognizable. Her mother was thriving in Singapore. The treatments were working, color returning to her cheeks during their daily video calls. Her boutique was being renovated into a Gangnam showpiece. She had more money in her account than she'd ever imagined. By all measures, she should have been grateful, content. Instead, she was slowly going insane. Living with Jihoon was like living with a beautiful ghost. He left before she woke, returned after she slept. Their only interactions were the carefully choreographed public appearances, gallery openings, charity dinners, business functions, where he played the attentive husband and she played the gracious wife. But in the penthouse, they were strangers. She'd catch glimpses of him sometimes, emerging from his gym at dawn, muscles defined under a thin t-shirt, that scar on his arm she wanted to ask about. Or late at night, playing piano in the music room, his fingers coaxing heartbreaking melodies from the keys. Those moments showed her flashes of the man beneath the armor, and it was becoming increasingly difficult to remember he was supposed to be gay. Especially when she'd catch him watching her with an intensity that made her skin burn. You're imagining it, she told herself for the 100th time, standing in the kitchen at 2 a.m. because sleep was impossible. She wore one of her oversized sleep shirts, her natural hair in a silk bonnet, looking nothing like the polished Mrs. Kang the public saw. Couldn't sleep either. Amara spun around to find Jihoon in the doorway, and her breath caught. He wore black pajama pants, slung low on his hips, no shirt, his hair mussed from sleep. She could see more scars now, a constellation of them across his torso, old wounds that spoke of violence and survival. I didn't think you'd be awake, she managed. Insomnia is an old friend. He moved into the kitchen, maintaining careful distance. Tea? Sure. They worked in silence, the domesticity of it strange and intimate. Jihoon moved with precision, measuring leaves, heating water. Amara noticed his hands. Elegant, scarred, the hands of a man who'd built empires and destroyed enemies. You play beautifully, she said finally. The piano. He paused. You heard that? Sometimes. Late at night. It's... She searched for words. Heartbreaking. It's the only thing that helps with the nightmares. The admission seemed to surprise him as much as her. What do you dream about? Things I can't change. He poured the tea, handed her a cup. Their fingers brushed, and electricity shot through her. Jihoon felt it too. She saw it in the way his pupils dilated, the slight hitch in his breath. He stepped back quickly. This was a mistake. I should stop running away from me, Amara said, surprising herself. We live in the same house, Jihoon. We don't have to be friends, but we don't have to be ghosts either. You don't understand what you're asking. Then explain it to me. Explain why everyone thinks you're gay when you look at me like... She cut herself off, shocked at her own boldness. Like what? His voice was dangerous now, moving closer despite himself. Like you're starving, she whispered. The air between them crackled. Jihoon's jaw clenched, warring with himself. Then, as if a dam broke, he closed the distance between them, backing her against the counter. He didn't touch her, but his presence overwhelmed everything. You want to know the truth, Amara? His voice was rough, wrecked. I'm not gay. I never was. The rumors are armor, protection. They keep people from looking too close at what I really am. Her heart hammered. What are you? Dangerous, broken, responsible for the death of the only woman who ever loved me. His eyes burned into hers. I let everyone think I'm gay because it's safer than letting them know the truth, that I'm capable of obsession, possession, destruction. When I want something, I take it completely. And that impulse got Yuna killed. Jihoon, I married you because my father demanded it. Yes, but I also married you because I looked at your photo and felt something I swore I'd never feel again, and that terrified me. He braced his hands on either side of her, caging her in without touching. Do you understand what I'm telling you? This arrangement, it protects you. From me. Amara's breath came in short gasps. What if I don't want protection? His control cracked. His hand came up, trembling, hovering near her face without touching. Don't say that. Don't. The sound of shattering glass exploded from the living room. Jihoon moved with inhuman speed, shoving Amara behind him, his entire demeanor transforming from conflicted man to lethal predator in a heartbeat. Stay here, he commanded, and disappeared into the darkness. Amara's heart pounded. She heard voices, Jihoon's, low and deadly, and another man's, desperate and pleading. Against every instinct, she moved toward the sound. The living room was destroyed. The floor-to-ceiling windows had been shattered, glass everywhere. A man in black stood with a gun pointed at Jihoon, who stood utterly calm, hands loose at his sides. You took everything from me, the man spat. My brother died in your smuggling operation. You think you can hide behind your billions? Your brother died, Because he tried to steal from me, Taejun, Jihoon said calmly. He knew the consequences. Then you'll know the consequences too. Your wife, where is she? I'll make you watch her die, like I watched my brother. Amara's sharp inhale gave her away. The gunman's eyes swung to her, and everything happened at once. Jihoon lunged. The gun fired. Amara screamed, but instead of the bullet hitting her, Jihoon had thrown himself in front of her, taking the impact in his shoulder. He didn't stop moving. Even wounded, he disarmed the man with brutal efficiency, putting him down with strikes that were both precise and punishing. Amara, run! Jihoon shouted, blood blooming across his shirt. But she couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Because in that moment, as Jihoon stood bleeding to protect her, as his eyes found hers with desperate intensity, she understood the truth. This wasn't a fake marriage anymore. This was real, and they were both in terrible danger. The hospital smelled like antiseptic and fear. Amara sat in the private waiting room while doctors worked on Jihoon, her hands shaking so badly she had to clasp them together. Blood, his blood, stained her sleep shirt. Min Seok had appeared with a team of security within minutes, handling the attacker, the police, the media blackout. Now he sat beside her, his usual calm cracked around the edges. He'll be fine, Min Seok said for the 10th time. The bullet went clean through. He's had worse. He's had worse? Amara's voice rose hysterically. What kind of life is this? What kind of... The kind of life Jihoon leads, Min Seok said quietly. The kind he's been trying to protect you from. By lying to me? By pretending to be someone he's not? Min Seok studied her carefully. What did he tell you? Before the attack? Everything. He'd told her everything. That the gay rumors were armor. That he'd felt something when he saw her photo. That he was dangerous, obsessive, responsible for Yuna's death. That he was terrified of what he felt. Enough, Amara whispered. The doctor emerged before Min Seok could press further. Mrs. Kang, your husband is asking for you. Amara's heart lurched. She followed the doctor to a private room where Jihoon lay propped against pillows, his shoulder bandaged, his face pale but alert. His eyes locked onto her the moment she entered, scanning her from head to toe. You're not hurt, he said, and the raw relief in his voice undid something in her chest. You were shot, Amara said, moving to his bedside. You jumped in front of a bullet for me. Of course I did. He said it like it was obvious, inevitable. Jihoon, this marriage is supposed to be fake. You weren't supposed to... Nothing about what I feel for you is fake. The words hung in the air between them, stark and undeniable. And that's the problem, Amara. Because everything I touch, I destroy. Tell me about Yuna, Amara said softly, pulling a chair close. The real story. Jihoon's jaw clenched. For a long moment, she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, slowly, he began. Yuna was my fiancé, arranged marriage, like ours. But we actually loved each other. She was light, everything I wasn't. She knew about the business, the underground operations, the gray areas, and she didn't care. She thought she could save me. His eyes grew distant, haunted. There was a rival organization trying to move into our territory. I was arrogant, young, thought I was untouchable. I pushed back hard, escalated things. They couldn't touch me directly, so they went after her. His voice cracked. They took her, used her as leverage. By the time we found her, she was already gone. Jihoon, Amara breathed. her heart breaking for him. Her sister, Soyeon, blames me. She's right too. If I'd just given them what they wanted, if I hadn't been so proud, so ruthless. He looked at Amara, and his eyes were shattered. After Yuna died, I became worse, colder, more vicious. I destroyed that organization, root and stem. And then I built walls so high, nothing could touch me again. The gay rumors, Amara realized, started them myself, spread them, nurtured them. If the world thought I had no interest in women, no one could use my feelings as a weapon against me. He laughed bitterly. It worked perfectly, until you. I don't understand why I'm different. Neither do I. His good hand reached out, trembling, cupping her face with a gentleness that contradicted everything about his reputation. But from the moment I saw your photo, something shifted, and when I met you, when I put that ring on your finger, when I watched you navigate my world with your head high despite everyone judging you. His thumb traced her cheekbone. I was supposed to keep you at arm's length. Instead, I'm lying in a hospital bed, bleeding because the thought of anything happening to you made me lose my mind. Amara's eyes filled with tears. What happens now? Now you make a choice. Jihoon's hand dropped. This attack was a warning. My enemies know you exist, know you matter. It will get worse. I can have Min Seok arrange everything, send you somewhere safe, release you from the contract, make sure your mother's treatment continues. You can walk away from this marriage, from me, from all the danger. And if I don't want to walk away? His eyes blazed. Then you need to understand what you're choosing. I'm not a good man, Amara. I've killed people. I've destroyed lives. My business operates in shadows that would terrify you. And if you stay, if you let this become real, his voice dropped to something almost desperate. I will never let you go. I will be possessive, obsessive, exactly what I warned you about. I will protect you with everything I have, but I will also own every piece of you. That's who I am. The warning should have terrified her. Instead, Amara felt something fierce and certain settle in her chest. I'm not Yuna, she said firmly. I'm not fragile. I'm not someone who needs saving. I grew up fighting for everything, Jihoon. I survived in a foreign country with nothing but determination. I built a business from scratch. I'm not afraid of your darkness. You should be. Maybe. She leaned closer. But I'm more afraid of walking away and never knowing what this could be. Jihoon's breath caught, his good hand fisted in the sheets, fighting himself. Amara, besides, she said, a small smile playing on her lips. We're still married, for 9 more months. Might as well make it interesting. Something broke in Jihoon's expression, that iron control cracking wide open. You have no idea what you're starting. Then show me, she whispered. The kiss was inevitable. Jihoon pulled her close with his good arm, and when their lips met, it was nothing like their chaste wedding kiss. This was hunger and desperation, and 5 years of walls crumbling all at once. He kissed her like a drowning man finding air, like she was the answer to questions he'd stopped asking. Amara melted into him, her hands careful of his injury, but her mouth fierce against his. When they finally broke apart, both breathless, Jihoon rested his forehead against hers. No going back after this, he murmured. I don't want to go back, Amara said, and sealed both their fates. Over the next weeks, Amara discovered what Kang Jihoon unleashed looked like. He was everything he'd warned her about. Intense, possessive, consuming. But he was also unexpectedly tender. He learned to cook Nigerian jollof after she mentioned missing home, his version too perfect because he'd hired a chef to teach him. He had Min Seok clear his schedule for her boutique opening, standing beside her as Seoul's elite admired her designs, his hand possessive on her lower back. He taught her Korean in bed, his lips tracing words against her skin. She taught him Igbo in return, laughing when he struggled with the tones. They shared late-night meals, early morning workouts, stolen moments between his business obligations and her boutique work. "Your father called again," Min Seok mentioned one morning, his expression troubled. "He wants to know why you're actually spending time with your wife." "Tell him I'm playing the role," Jihoon said absently, his attention on Amara as she moved through the penthouse in one of his shirts, her natural hair loose, looking nothing like the polished Mrs. Kang and everything like home. "Are you?" Min Seok asked quietly. "Playing a role?" Jihoon's eyes tracked Amara like a predator tracking prey, except the hunger in his gaze was different now. "No, not anymore." But happiness in Jihoon's world was always temporary. The first warning came from Chairman Kang, summoning them both to the family estate in Gangnam. The traditional hanok was beautiful and cold, much like the man who lived there. "Interesting," Chairman Kang said, studying them across the formal dining table. "You're actually together. I thought this was an arrangement." "Plans change," Jihoon said, his hand finding Amara's under the table. "Indeed." The old man's eyes were calculating. "I have a proposition. The Park family wants to merge operations, their shipping empire with our distribution network. They're offering their daughter, Mina, as part of the arrangement." "I'm married," Jihoon said flatly, "to a temporary wife, an arrangement that can be dissolved." Chairman Kang's gaze cut to Amara. "No offense, Mrs. Kang, but you were never meant to be permanent. The Park Alliance is worth billions and strengthens our position against the Chinese syndicates moving into Seoul." "No," Jihoon said, his voice deadly quiet. "I wasn't asking, son. The shareholders are demanding it. The board sees this marriage as a weakness, a distraction. Divorce her, marry Park Mina, and consolidate power. Or watch Kang Industries crumble from internal revolt. Then let it crumble." The room went silent. Chairman Kang's face darkened. "You would throw away everything I built for her?" "Yes." Jihoon stood, pulling Amara up with him. "This conversation is over." As they left, Amara heard Chairman Kang's final words. "She'll be your weakness, Jihoon, just like Yuna, and your enemies are already watching." In the car, Jihoon's jaw was clenched tight. "I won't let him force me to give you up." "What if he's right?" Amara said quietly. "What if I am your weakness? Then I'll die protecting my weakness." His hand tightened on hers. "But I won't give you up. Not to my father, not to the board, not to anyone." But the universe had other plans. That night, as they lay tangled together in Jihoon's bed, his phone rang. Min Seok, his voice urgent. "We have a problem. Soyeon just leaked photos to the press. Photos of you and Amara. Intimate photos someone took through your windows. She's claiming Amara is a gold digger who seduced you, that the marriage is a sham, that Kang Industries is in chaos." Jihoon's entire body went rigid. "When?" "They hit the major sites 20 minutes ago. It's already viral." Amara grabbed her own phone, her heart sinking as she scrolled through the headlines. Billionaire's fake marriage exposed. Nigerian designer's gold-digging scheme. Kang Industries in crisis. The photos were invasive, intimate, her and Jihoon through windows, in moments that should have been private. Someone had been watching them, stalking them, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Soyeon, Jihoon said, his voice dark with rage. She's been planning this. Revenge for Yuna. His phone rang again. Chairman Kang, you have 48 hours to announce a divorce, or I'm calling an emergency board meeting to remove you as CEO. Your scandal is tanking our stock. Fix this, Jihoon, or lose everything. Amara's phone buzzed. Her mother's caretaker in Singapore. Mrs. Kang, we've been informed that funding for your mother's treatment has been suspended pending resolution of the scandal. Without payment, we'll have to discharge her. The walls were closing in. Jihoon pulled Amara close, his face pressed into her hair. I'll fix this. I promise you, I'll fix this. But for the first time since she'd known him, Amara heard something unfamiliar in Kang Jihoon's voice. Fear. The penthouse had transformed into a war room. Min Seok worked 3 laptops simultaneously, tracking the scandal's spread across Korean media. Security teams reviewed footage, trying to identify who'd taken the invasive photos. Lawyers drafted statements, and Jihoon stood at the windows overlooking Seoul, his empire burning while he watched. The board meeting is set for tomorrow morning, Min Seok said quietly. Chairman Kang has enough votes to remove you, and the Park family is already circulating merger proposals, with Park Mina as your future wife. Amara stood apart from them all, her phone clutched in her hand, her mother's caretaker's words echoing. Discharge her. Everything they'd fought for, everything she'd sacrificed for, crumbling because she'd been foolish enough to believe in something real. There's a way out, Jihoon said, not turning from the window. I announced that the marriage was always an arrangement, that you're a convenient cover for my business operations. I publicly humiliate you, claim you tried to extort more money, and divorce you immediately. That satisfies my father, appeases the board, and I remain CEO. And what happens to Amara? Min Seok asked, his voice hard. I set her up in another country, quietly. Her mother's treatment continues. She gets the settlement, starts over somewhere my world can't touch her. Finally, Jihoon turned, and Amara saw the devastation in his eyes. She gets to live. You mean she gets to run? Amara said, her voice cutting through the room. I mean she gets to survive. Jihoon moved toward her, his hands clenching at his sides to keep from reaching for her. This is my fault. I knew better than to let this happen, to let you in. Now Soyeon is using you to destroy me, and my father is using the scandal to control me, and your mother. His voice broke. I won't let you lose your mother because I was selfish enough to want you. So your solution is to throw me away, to stand in front of the world and call our marriage a lie. It's the only way to protect you. I don't need your protection. Amara's fury finally erupted. I need you to fight. For us. Or was everything you said just words? About not letting me go? About being possessive and obsessive? Or does all that disappear the moment things get difficult? Difficult? Jihoon's laugh was bitter. Amara, if I fight my father, I lose Kang Industries. If I lose the company, I lose my power. and without power, I can't protect you from the enemies who already want you dead. That man who shot me, he was just the first. There are others, rival syndicates, business competitors, everyone who sees you as my weakness. Then make me your strength instead. The words hung in the air. Jihoon stared at her. What? Amara stepped forward, her mind racing. You've spent 5 years building walls, letting everyone think you're something you're not. You've hidden your real power, your real connections, because you were afraid of losing control again. But what if we go on the offensive instead? Amara, your father thinks I'm a weakness. Prove him wrong. The board thinks this marriage is a distraction. Show them it's a strategic advantage. Soyeon wants revenge. Give her something to really be afraid of. Amara's eyes blazed. Stop playing defense, Jihoon. Remind everyone why they fear you in the first place. Min-seok straightened, his attention caught. What exactly are you suggesting? We don't deny the scandal. We own it. Amara turned to Min-seok. Can you get me access to every piece of dirt Kang Industries has on its competitors? Every secret? Every leverage point? Amara, that information is classified. I'm Mrs. Kang, she said, and for the first time she owned that title completely. Get me the information. Min-seok looked at Jihoon, who stared at Amara like he'd never seen her before. Slowly, he nodded. Over the next 12 hours, Amara transformed. She studied the files Min-seok provided, years of carefully documented secrets, leverage, power plays. She learned the structure of Kang Industries, identified the board members wavering in their support, discovered which of Chairman Kang's allies had skeletons worth protecting. And she found something else. Evidence that Soyeon had been embezzling from Yuna's charity foundation, the one established in her sister's memory, using grief as a cover for theft. This is good, Jihoon murmured, reading over her shoulder as dawn broke over Seoul. They'd worked through the night, Min-seok coordinating with lawyers and investigators, Amara building a strategy that would make Sun Tzu proud. But going after Soyeon this way, it's ruthless. She tried to destroy us, Amara said coldly. I'm just returning the favor, and I'm going to do it while wearing a dress she'll never be able to afford. Jihoon's laugh was surprised, genuine. Who are you? Your wife. She turned in his arms. And if we're doing this, if we're really fighting for us, then you need to tell me everything. No more secrets, no more protection. I need to know exactly what I'm walking into. So Jihoon told her about the underground luxury trade that was his real empire, art antiquities, gems moving through legal fronts, about the network of connections spanning Asia, Africa, Europe, about the legitimate businesses that made billions while funding the shadow operations, about his role not just as CEO, but as one of the youngest kingpins in Seoul's organized underground. I'm not a good man, Amara, he finished. The world that tried to kill you, I rule it. I know, she said simply, and I'm choosing you anyway. But if I stay as an equal. Not a weakness, not someone to protect, a partner. You have no idea what you're signing up for. Then teach me. Her smile was sharp, fierce. Teach me to be a queen in your world, Jihoon. And then let's show everyone what happens when they come for what's ours. Jihoon kissed her then, hard and claiming. And when he pulled back, something dangerous glittered in his eyes. You're going to be magnificent, he murmured. And terrifying. Good. Amara straightened her shoulders. Now, let's go to that board meeting and burn your father's plans to the ground. The Kang Industries boardroom was a battlefield, disguised as corporate elegance. 20 board members sat around the massive table, Chairman Kang at its head, smugness radiating from his position. Park Mina and her father sat in guest chairs, already acting like the merger was decided. Soyeon watched from the gallery, her expression triumphant. They all expected Jihoon to arrive alone, defeated, ready to surrender. Instead, he walked in with Amara at his side, both of them dressed like they were attending a coronation, not an execution. Amara wore a custom design from her boutique, a stunning fusion of Korean and Nigerian aesthetics, emerald silk with intricate gold threading, a dress that screamed power and pride. Her natural hair was styled in an elegant updo, and diamonds Jihoon had given her that morning sparkled at her throat and ears. She looked like exactly what she was, a queen. Thank you all for gathering, Jihoon said, his voice calm as he took his seat at the opposite end of the table from his father. Amara sat beside him, her posture perfect, her gaze sweeping the room with cool assessment. I understand there are concerns about my leadership and my marriage. Let's address them. There's nothing to address, Chairman Kang said coldly. The scandal has cost us billions in market confidence. Your marriage is clearly a liability. We're calling for your immediate removal and replacement with Park Mina as my wife. Jihoon's smile didn't reach his eyes. Interesting proposal. Shall we discuss what the Park family brings to this merger? He nodded to Min Seok, who pulled up a presentation. Images filled the screens around the room. Documents, photos, evidence. The Park shipping empire that everyone is so eager to merge with. Currently under investigation for smuggling operations that make our legitimate business look like child's play. Weapons to conflict zones, human trafficking routes through Southeast Asia. The evidence has been compiled and is ready to be delivered to both Korean and international authorities. Jihoon's gaze cut to Park Mina's father, who'd gone pale. Unless, of course, the Park family would like to withdraw their merger proposal immediately. Park stood abruptly. You have no proof. We have everything. Amara's voice cut through the room, clear and authoritative. And if you think we're bluffing, please, test us. I'd love to see what happens when the international press gets access to these files. The Park family fled within minutes. Now, Jihoon continued, as if there hadn't been an interruption. Let's discuss the board's concerns about my marriage being a distraction. I assume this push is coming from certain members? His eyes landed on 3 specific people, all allies of his father. Would those members like to explain their relationship with the Kim Syndicate, the one currently trying to move into our territories? The 3 board members exchanged panicked glances. We have documentation of payments, meetings, plans to sabotage Kang Industries from within. Min Seok distributed files around the table. Corporate espionage, breach of fiduciary duty, possible criminal conspiracy. Unless these members would like to resign immediately, we'll be pursuing full legal action. The 3 stood and left, their careers over. Amara watched Chairman Kang's face darken with fury, but she wasn't done. And finally, let's discuss Soyeon Park. Amara's gaze cut to the gallery where the woman sat frozen. The source of the scandal, the leaked photos, the coordinated media attack. We know it was you, Soyeon. We have the evidence. But what's more interesting is what else we found while investigating you. New images appeared on the screens. Financial records, bank transfers, damning evidence. Yuna's charity foundation, the one established in her memory to help underprivileged children. You've been embezzling from it for 3 years, using your dead sister's legacy to fund your lifestyle while children suffered. Amara's voice was sharp as broken glass. You want to talk about dishonoring Yuna's memory? Look in the mirror. Soyeon's face crumbled. You can't prove. We already have. The evidence is being delivered to prosecutors as we speak. Jihoon stood, his presence dominating the room. You tried to destroy my marriage out of misplaced revenge. Instead, you've destroyed yourself. Security will escort you out. If you ever come near my wife again, I won't be as merciful. As Soyeon was led away, sobbing, Amara turned to Chairman Kang. Your move, she said quietly. The old man stared at his son and daughter-in-law, and for the first time, something like respect flickered in his eyes alongside the rage. You think you've won, Chairman Kang said. We know we have, Jihoon replied. The board can vote if you'd like, Father. But I think we all know how it will go now. The vote was unanimous. Jihoon remained CEO. As they left the building, Amara's phone rang. Her mother's caretaker. Mrs. Kang, we've received full payment for the next 2 years of treatment. Also, there's been a substantial anonymous donation to cover other patients as well. Amara looked at Jihoon, who shrugged slightly. Turns out Yuna's charity will be properly managed from now on. Seemed fitting. Outside, as cameras flashed and reporters shouted questions, Jihoon pulled Amara close. You were incredible in there, he murmured against her ear. We were incredible, she corrected. Together, he agreed, and kissed her in front of all of Seoul, claiming her publicly and irrevocably. But as they drove away in Jihoon's car, Min Seok's phone buzzed with a message that made his face go pale. What? Jihoon demanded. We may have won the battle, Min Seok said quietly. But the war just got worse. The Chinese syndicate we've been worried about? They've made their move. They've taken someone. Who? Chisholm, Amara's best friend from Nigeria. She arrived in Seoul this morning to surprise Amara. They grabbed her from the airport. Amara's blood ran cold. No, please. They're demanding you step down from Kang Industries and leave Korea, Jihoon, or they start sending pieces of her back. The message was clear. Winning against his father was nothing compared to the enemies still waiting in the shadows. And this time, the cost might be more than either of them could bear. The safe house in Gangnam was silent, except for the sound of Amara's ragged breathing. She sat in the center of the room, Chisholm's last Instagram post open on her phone, a selfie at Incheon Airport. Smiling, excited, captioned, "Surprise, coming to see my sister in her fancy Korean life," posted 6 hours ago, before the Chinese syndicate's men had grabbed her. We're mobilizing everything, Jihoon said, his voice tight with controlled fury. He'd been on the phone for 2 hours, calling in every favor, activating every contact in Seoul's underground. Every resource, every connection, we'll find her. They want you gone, Amara said hollowly. They want you to give up everything and leave Korea. That's the price for her life. I'm not paying it, She's my best friend, Jihoon. My sister in every way that matters. She came here because of me, because I was stupid enough to post about my perfect new life. This isn't your fault. Jihoon knelt in front of her, gripping her hands. The Jang Syndicate has been looking for an opening since we shut down their last operation. They're using Chisholm because they know she matters to you, and you matter to me. This is about power, territory, not you. It's always about me now, though, isn't it? Amara's eyes filled with tears. Your father was right. Soyeon was right. I'm your weakness. Everyone who wants to hurt you just has to hurt the people I love. No. How many more, Jihoon? How many more people have to suffer because I refuse to walk away? She pulled her hands free, standing, pacing like a caged animal. My mother almost lost her treatment. Chisholm is God knows where, probably terrified. Possibly already. Her voice broke. When does it end? When we win, Jihoon said fiercely. When we show the Zhang Syndicate and everyone else that coming after us has consequences, or when I leave. The words fell like stones. That's what they want, right? Me gone. If I disappear, if I divorce you publicly, prove I was just a gold digger, like everyone said, then you get your reputation back. The syndicate gets what they want. Maybe they let Chisholm go. Amara, no, it's the smart play, Jihoon. Her voice was eerily calm now, the same calm she'd used when deciding to marry him in the first place. The calm of someone making an impossible choice. We both know it. I leave. Everything goes back to how it was. You keep your empire. The threats against people I love stop, and I lose you. Jihoon's voice was raw. You think I can just let you walk away? After everything, you let Yuna go. The silence that followed was deafening. Jihoon's face went white, then flushed with pain and fury. That was cruel, he said quietly. It was true. Amara forced herself to be cold, to hurt him, because if she didn't, she'd never have the strength to do what needed to be done. Yuna died because you wouldn't compromise, because your pride, your need for control, was more important than her safety. Are you going to make the same mistake with Chisholm? With me? Don't do this. I have to. She moved toward the door, where Min-seok waited with a packed bag. They'd prepared for this contingency, even if Jihoon refused to acknowledge it. Tell the Zhang Syndicate they win. Tell them I'm leaving Korea tonight, and when Chisholm is safe, get her home to Nigeria. Amara, please. Jihoon's voice cracked, and she'd never heard him sound so broken. Please don't leave me. I'll find another way. I swear to you, I'll find another way. There is no other way. She turned at the door, memorizing his face, the man she'd fallen impossibly in love with, the man whose world was too dangerous, too dark, for people like Chisholm to survive. I'm sorry, Jihoon. I'm sorry I wasn't strong enough to be what you needed. You're everything I need. Then let me go. If you love me, let me save her. She left before he could respond, Min-seok following with the bag, leaving Jihoon standing alone in the safe house, his hands clenched into fists, his carefully controlled world shattering for the second time in his life. The flight to Lagos was arranged within hours. Min-seok's efficiency brutal and absolute. Amara sat in the first-class cabin of the private jet, numb. The pilot announced they'd be taking off in 10 minutes. Her phone buzzed constantly with messages she couldn't bear to read. Jihoon, begging her to reconsider. her mother's caretaker, confused about the sudden change in plans. The Kang Industries PR team, preparing the divorce announcement. And then, a message from an unknown number. Package delivered. Check the cargo hold. Amara's heart stopped. She ran to the back of the plane where cargo was stored, Min Seok close behind. There, unconscious but breathing, tied up but unharmed, was Chisholm. What? How? Amara fell to her knees beside her friend, checking her pulse, her breathing, sobbing with relief. Min Seok's phone rang. He answered, listened, then held it out to Amara. It's Jihoon. With shaking hands, Amara took the phone. Did you really think I'd let you sacrifice yourself? Jihoon's voice was rough, exhausted. Did you think I'd let you leave believing you were my weakness? Jihoon, Chisholm is here. She's safe. How did you? I didn't give them what they wanted. I gave them what they deserved. In the background, she heard sounds, shouting, chaos, sirens. The Zhang Syndicate's Seoul operations no longer exist. Every warehouse, every front business, every safe house, gone. Their leadership is currently being arrested on multiple charges, evidence provided by anonymous sources. The ones who took Chisholm are in custody. You went to war, Amara whispered. In 2 hours, you went to war. I told you what I was, Amara. I told you I was dangerous. That when I want something, I take it completely. His voice dropped to something fierce and possessive. I want you, and I will burn down anyone who tries to take you from me. But the risk is worth it. You're worth it. Chisholm is worth it. Our future is worth it. She heard him take a shaky breath. You were wrong about Yuna. I didn't lose her because I was too proud to compromise. I lost her because I compromised too much, because I tried to play by rules that didn't exist, because I thought I could negotiate with monsters. I won't make that mistake again. Tears streamed down Amara's face. I was trying to protect you. I know, and that's why I love you. But I don't need protection, Amara. I need you beside me, as my equal, as my queen. As the woman brave enough to face my darkness and strong enough to survive it. The plane is about to take off. Then tell them to turn it around. Come home. Come back to me. His voice broke. Please, Amara, don't leave me in the darkness alone. She looked at Chisholm, unconscious, but safe. At Min Seok, who nodded slightly, giving permission. At the life she'd been running toward in Lagos. Safe, simple, separate from Jihoon's dangerous world. And she made her choice. Turn the plane around, she told the pilot. When the jet touched down in Seoul 2 hours later, Jihoon was waiting on the tarmac, his face haggard, his clothes stained with what she hoped was someone else's blood, his eyes desperate. Amara ran to him, and when their lips met, it tasted like tears and relief and coming home. Never again, Jihoon murmured against her mouth, his arms crushing her close. Never run from me again. Never give me a reason to, she countered. Behind them, Chisholm stirred awake in the medical team's care, confused and terrified, but alive. The Zhang Syndicate was in ruins. Chairman Kang was silent, finally understanding that his son had become something beyond his control. And Seoul's underground whispered a new truth. Kang Jihoon had found his weakness, and God help anyone who tried to use it against him. Chisholm's recovery took 3 days in a private hospital, with security so tight not even a fly could get through. Amara barely left her friend's side, holding her hand while doctors checked for injuries. listening as Chisholm shakily recounted her kidnapping, the men grabbing her at the airport, the warehouse they'd held her in, the terrifying hours before Jihoon's people had stormed in like avenging angels. Your husband is actually insane, Chisholm said on the third day, her voice stronger now. She sat up in bed, braids messy, hospital gown wrinkled, but her eyes were clear. He walked into that warehouse alone, Amara, alone, and he told them they had two choices: let me go, or he'd burn down their entire organization. When they laughed at him, he made a phone call, and suddenly every police unit in Seoul was descending on their operations. He has connections, Amara said quietly. Connections? Girl, he has an empire. Those men were terrified of him. I could see it in their eyes. Chisholm gripped Amara's hand. But you know what else I saw? When he carried me out of there, he kept asking if I was hurt, if they'd touched me. And then he said, I'm sorry. This happened because you matter to her, and she matters to me. I'll never let it happen again. Amara's throat tightened. Chisholm, you love him. It wasn't a question. Actually, love him. Not the arranged marriage thing, not the deal for your mother. Real love. I tried not to, Amara admitted. I tried to keep it simple, keep it safe. But Jihoon he's complicated and dangerous and capable of terrible things. But he's also capable of this. She gestured to Chisholm, safe and recovering. He destroyed an entire criminal syndicate in hours because they hurt someone I love. So what now? Now I stop running. Stop pretending this isn't real. Amara stood, her decision crystallizing. I'm his wife, for real. And if I'm going to be Mrs. Kang, then I need to fully step into that world. Chisholm studied her. That's a big decision, Amara. His world, it's not fashion and charity galas. It's violence and power and danger. I know, but I'd rather face it with him than live safely without him. Then you'd better make sure you survive it, Chisholm said fiercely. Because I did not get kidnapped by Chinese gangsters just for you to get yourself killed being noble. Amara laughed, the sound watery but genuine. Deal. That night, Amara found Jihoon in the penthouse's music room, playing piano in the dark. The melody was different this time, not the heartbreaking pieces she'd heard before, but something softer, more hopeful. She stood in the doorway, watching his fingers move across the keys, his profile illuminated by city lights streaming through the windows. Chisholm's asking to meet you properly, Amara said softly. To thank you. Jihoon's hands stilled on the keys. She doesn't need to thank me. Protecting her was protecting you. Still, she wants to. Amara moved into the room, sitting beside him on the piano bench. She also told me what you said, about never letting it happen again. I meant it, I know, but Jihoon, she turned to face him fully. I need you to teach me. Teach you what? Everything. How your world really works. The underground network, the power structure, the rules of engagement. If I'm going to be your wife, really your wife, then I can't be a liability. I can't be someone you have to constantly protect. I need to be able to protect myself. Jihoon stared at her. You're asking me to bring you fully into my world. The illegal parts. The dangerous parts. Yes. Amara, once you're in, there's no going back. You'll see things, know things, that will change you. You'll have blood on your hands, metaphorically or literally. That weight, it never leaves. I've been carrying weights my whole life, Amara said firmly. Poverty, immigration, racism, fighting for every inch of success. Your world is just another fight, and I'd rather fight beside you than be sheltered behind you. Jihoon's hand came up, cupping her face with reverent gentleness. You're sure? I'm sure. Then we start tomorrow. His thumb traced her cheekbone. But tonight, I need something from you. What? Marry me again? Amara blinked. We're already married. Not like this. Not real. Jihoon stood, pulling her up with him. The first wedding was a transaction. I want to marry you properly. Small ceremony, just us and the people who matter. Your mother via video call, Chisholm as witness, Min Seok as best man. I want to put this ring on your finger and mean every word. Tears spilled down Amara's cheeks. Jihoon, I want you to wear white, because you choose to, not because you have to. I want to kiss you as my wife and know it's real. I want, his voice cracked. I want to do it right this time. Will you marry me, Amara Okafor? For real? Yes, she breathed. Yes, 1,000 times, yes. The kiss was soft and sweet and full of promises. No longer two strangers in an arrangement, but two people choosing each other completely. The ceremony was 3 days later, in the penthouse at sunrise. Amara wore a dress she'd designed herself, a fusion of Korean and Nigerian styles, white silk with intricate gold, threading, traditional and modern all at once. Her natural hair was loose in curls, a simple gold crown nestled in them. She felt beautiful, powerful, ready. Chisholm stood beside her, tears already streaming down her face. You look like a queen, sis. I feel like one. In the living room, Jihoon waited with Min Seok and a private officiant. He wore a traditional Korean hanbok in black and gold, looking every inch the powerful man he was. But his eyes, when they landed on Amara, were soft with wonder. You're breathtaking, he murmured as she approached. So are you. The ceremony was simple, personal. They wrote their own vows. Amara, Jihoon began, his voice steady despite the emotion in his eyes. I promised to protect you, provide for you, give you a year of safety. Instead, I gave you danger, scandal, and a world that tried to destroy you. But you didn't break. You didn't run, not permanently. You stood beside me, challenged me, made me want to be better than the darkness I've lived in. I can't promise you safety. I can't promise you peace. But I can promise you that I will love you fiercely, protect you ruthlessly, and choose you every single day for the rest of my life. You are my light in the darkness, Amara. My redemption. My home. Amara wiped away tears before speaking. Jihoon, I married you the first time out of desperation. I'm marrying you now out of choice. You showed me that strength isn't about being fearless. It's about being afraid and choosing to fight anyway. You're dangerous and complicated and capable of terrible things. But you're also capable of incredible loyalty, fierce protection, and a love that burns bright enough to light up the shadows. I choose your darkness. I choose your light. I choose all of you exactly as you are. You're my home. Jihoon, my partner, my future. When Jihoon slid the new ring onto her finger, a custom piece with a Nigerian emerald and Korean diamond intertwined, it felt like a vow made in blood and light both. I now pronounce you husband and wife, the officiant said, with a smile. You may kiss your bride. Jihoon pulled Amara close, and the kiss was everything their first hadn't been. Passionate, claiming, full of promise and future and choice. When they broke apart, both breathless, Min Seok was grinning, Chisholm was sobbing, and Amara's mother was cheering through the video call from Singapore. "Welcome to the family," Min Seok said, embracing Amara. "The real family." "Thank you for not giving up on us," Amara whispered. "Thank you for not giving up on him," Min Seok replied. As dawn fully broke over Seoul, painting the sky in gold and pink, Amara stood with Jihoon's arms around her, looking out over the city they'd fought for. "Ready to learn," Jihoon murmured. "Ready," Amara confirmed. And so began her true education into Kang Jihoon's world. Over the following weeks, Amara discovered exactly what being Mrs. Kang, in truth, meant. Jihoon introduced her to his real network, not the polished business associates, but the underground contacts, the art dealers who moved pieces worth millions without paperwork, the shipping coordinators who knew every customs official willing to look away, the information brokers who traded in secrets, the security specialists who made problems disappear. "This is the real empire," Jihoon explained during a meeting in an underground club in Itaewon. "Legitimate business is the front. This is the foundation." Amara met them all, nodded at the right times, learned the protocols, understood the unspoken rules. Some were skeptical of her, some were outright hostile. But when she stood beside Jihoon and demonstrated she understood their language, their codes, the skepticism began to shift into respect. "She's quick," one of the art dealers, a woman named Hana, said approvingly. "And she doesn't flinch. I like her." Jihoon taught her self-defense, real training that left her bruised and empowered. He taught her to read people, to identify threats, to navigate dangerous situations. He showed her the legitimate side too, the board meetings she now attended, the business strategies she helped develop, using her design expertise to expand Kang Industries into fashion and luxury goods. "You're a natural," Min Seok said one day, watching her negotiate a deal with a Korean textile manufacturer. "You've got Jihoon steel, but wrapped in velvet. They never see you coming." But the true test came 6 weeks after their real wedding. A rival organization, the Yamada Group from Japan, made an aggressive move into Seoul's art trade, undercutting prices and threatening Kang Industries' partnerships. It was a direct challenge, one that required response. "Let me handle it," Amara said during the strategy meeting. Jihoon frowned. "Amara, the Yamada Group is old school, traditional. They won't respect a woman, a black woman, a Nigerian outsider." Amara's smile was sharp. "Good. Let them underestimate me. That's how we win." She arranged a meeting with Yamada's representatives at a neutral location, a high-end Korean-Japanese fusion restaurant. She wore a custom suit, Nigerian Ankara fabric tailored in Korean style, a power move that announced her identity proudly. She brought Hana as backup and Min Seok as observer. The Yamada men were exactly as expected, smug, dismissive, barely hiding their contempt. "Mrs. Kang," the lead representative said, his Korean heavily accented. "Your husband sends his wife to negotiate. How modern." "My husband," Amara replied smoothly in Japanese. She'd been learning. "Understands that I'm uniquely qualified to solve this situation. See, you're operating under a misconception." "And what's that?" "That you're negotiating with Kang Industries." Her smile was all teeth. "You're not. You're negotiating with me." She laid out files on the table, documentation of every Yamada operation in Seoul, every illegal shipment, every bribed official, every gray area transaction. "We've been watching you since you arrived. documenting everything. Now, you have two choices. Amara leaned forward. Choice 1, you withdraw from Seoul's art trade immediately. Stick to your agreed upon territories, and we forget this documentation exists. Choice 2, you continue your aggressive expansion, and these files get delivered to both Korean and Japanese authorities. Your operations in both countries end, your leadership goes to prison, and Kang Industries moves into your territories instead. The Yamada men exchanged glances, rattled. You're bluffing, one said. Am I? Amara pulled out her phone, showed them live footage of Japanese police surrounding one of their warehouses in Tokyo. One phone call from me, and they go in. Try me. The silence stretched. Finally, the lead representative bowed slightly. We will withdraw from Seoul's art trade. Excellent choice. Amara stood, gathering her files. And gentlemen, tell your leadership that Mrs. Kang is not a weakness to exploit. She's a force to respect. Remember that. She walked out with her head high, Hana and Minseok following, leaving the Yamada representatives scrambling. Outside, Minseok was grinning. That was masterful. Jihoon is going to lose his mind. Good, Amara said. Let him know what he married. When she returned to the penthouse that evening, Jihoon was waiting, having heard every detail from Minseok. He stood as she entered, his eyes blazing with something between pride and possessive hunger. You handled the Yamada group, he said. I did. Without violence, without threats. Just pure strategic dominance. The best victories are the ones where you never have to throw a punch. Amara moved closer. Did I do well? You did more than well. Jihoon pulled her close, his kiss fierce and claiming. You were magnificent, terrifying, perfect. I learned from the best. No, he murmured against her lips. You taught yourself. You took everything I showed you and made it your own. That's all you, Amara. That's the woman I married. That night, as they lay tangled together, Seoul glittering beyond the windows, Amara felt truly powerful for the first time in her life. Not because of Jihoon's money or protection, but because she'd earned her place in his world through her own strength. What are you thinking? Jihoon asked softly. That I'm ready, Amara said, for whatever comes next. Together, he agreed, but neither of them could have predicted what next would bring. Because the next morning, Chairman Kang summoned them both, and the look in his eyes promised that the real battle was only just beginning. Chairman Kang's private office in the Kang family estate was a study in old world power, traditional Korean architecture, priceless art, the weight of generations pressing down like gravity. Amara sat beside Jihoon, her spine straight, her custom suit armor and identity both. Across from them, the old man studied them with calculating eyes. I underestimated you, Mrs. Kang, Chairman Kang finally said. I thought you were a desperate woman playing dress-up. Instead, you've become formidable. Thank you, Amara said coolly. I had excellent teachers and terrible influences. The old man's gaze cut to his son. Jihoon, you've allowed your wife to become entangled in operations that should never involve civilians. She's now a target, a liability. She's an asset, Jihoon interrupted. The Yamada situation could have turned violent. Amara resolved it without bloodshed, maintaining our relationships and strengthening our position. She's proven herself more valuable than half our operations team. She's proven herself dangerous. To herself, to you, to this family. No, a new voice said from the doorway. She's proven herself worthy. They all turned to see Min Seok enter, followed by someone unexpected, an elderly Korean woman in traditional hanbok, her face lined with age, but her eyes sharp as broken glass. Grandmother, Jihoon breathed, standing immediately. Amara stood too, bowing deeply. She'd heard of Jihoon's grandmother, the true power behind the Kang family, the one who'd built the underground empire from nothing, who'd retired 5 years ago, but whose influence still shaped everything. "Sit, all of you," the grandmother commanded, and everyone obeyed. She took the seat at the head of the table, displacing Chairman Kang with casual authority. "I've been watching this situation unfold with great interest. A fake marriage that became real. A Nigerian designer who became a queen. My grandson, finally alive again after years of being a ghost." "Mother," Chairman Kang began. "Be quiet." She turned to Amara. "Tell me, child, why did you stay? When you could have run, taken the money, saved your friend and yourself, why stay in this dangerous world?" Amara met the old woman's eyes steadily. "Because running would mean giving up the first thing in my life worth fighting for. Your grandson is complicated and dangerous, but he's also loyal, protective, and capable of extraordinary love. The world he lives in is dark, but it's also powerful and full of possibility. I stayed because I'd rather fight in the darkness beside him than live safely in the light alone." The grandmother's lips curved in a small smile. "Good answer. Now tell me, what do you want?" The question hung in the air. Amara glanced at Jihoon, who nodded slightly, giving her permission to speak her truth. "I want what every woman in this family has been denied," Amara said carefully. "Real power. Not the power that comes from being someone's wife or daughter or mother, but power in my own right. I want a seat at the table when decisions are made. I want my voice heard, my strategies considered, my strengths utilized. I want to be Jihoon's equal partner in every sense, not just his protected weakness." "And you think you've earned that?" Chairman Kang scoffed. "I know I have." Amara turned to him. "I've resolved conflicts without violence, strengthened alliances, protected assets, and proven I can navigate both the legitimate and underground worlds. What more do I need to prove?" "She's right," the grandmother said. "And more than that, she's what this family needs. We've spent too long operating in shadows, pretending our power doesn't exist, letting men like you, Jihoona, sacrifice their humanity for the empire. Amara represents something new, a bridge between worlds." "I have a proposal," Amara said, her heart racing but her voice steady. "Kang Industries is known for tech and luxury goods. But there's an untapped market, ethical luxury, high-end African art, textiles, and design, sourced responsibly, marketed to the conscious luxury consumer. I can build that division using my connections in Nigeria and throughout Africa, combining Kang Industries' resources with authentic cultural partnerships." She pulled out a tablet, showing the business plan she'd been developing in secret for weeks. "It's a legitimate business that also provides perfect cover for expanding our underground art operations into new territories. Win-win." Jihoon stared at her, pride and surprise warring in his expression. Min Seok was grinning openly. Chairman Kang looked grudgingly impressed. But it was the grandmother's reaction that mattered. Brilliant, the old woman said, multi-layered, profitable, and strategically sound. This is exactly the kind of forward thinking this family needs. She turned to Chairman Kang. Your objections? She's still an outsider. So was I when I married into this family. The grandmother cut him off. And I built the empire you're so proud of. Outsiders bring fresh perspectives. Amara stays. She gets her division, and she gets a seat on the Kang Industries executive board. Mother, that's not negotiable. The old woman's voice turned to steel. I'm invoking my authority as matriarch. Amara is family. She has proven herself. This discussion is over. Chairman Kang's jaw clenched, but he nodded stiffly. You didn't argue with the matriarch. There's one more thing, the grandmother said, her eyes softening as she looked at Jihoon. My grandson has been dead inside since Yuna. Functioning, but not living. Amara, you've brought him back to life. For that alone, you've earned your place in this family. But you've also earned it through your own merit. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Tears pricked Amara's eyes. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just succeed. Show everyone what I already see, that you're exactly what the Kang family needs to survive the next generation. As they left the estate, Amara felt like she was floating. Jihoon pulled her close in the back of the car, pressing a kiss to her temple. You did it, he murmured. You claimed your place. We did it, she corrected. Together. Always together. But their celebration was cut short when Min Seok's phone rang. His face went pale as he listened. What? Jihoon demanded. The Kim Syndicate, the one that had members on our board, the one we exposed. They've regrouped, and they're coming after us tonight. Multiple teams, coordinated attack. They know we're in transit. Amara's blood ran cold. How many? At least 30. They're planning to hit the penthouse, our warehouses, and Min Seok's voice cracked. And Chisholm's hotel. She's still in Seoul. No. Amara's voice was fierce. Not again. Not her. Jihoon was already on his phone, barking orders, coordinating teams. Security to Chisholm's hotel now. Double security on all Kang properties. And get me everyone mobilized. There's not enough time, Min Seok said quietly. They're 15 minutes out from Chisholm's location. Our nearest team is 20 minutes away. Amara made a decision. Then I go. Absolutely not, Jihoon said immediately. I'm the closest. I'm trained now, and I'm not letting my best friend die because I was too scared to act. She turned to the driver. How fast can you get me to the Shilla Hotel? 10 minutes. Amara, please. Jihoon's voice was desperate. You taught me to fight, to protect what matters, to be your equal. She cupped his face, kissed him hard. Trust me to do this. I'll keep her safe until your team arrives, I promise. The look in Jihoon's eyes was pure agony, but he nodded. Min Seok goes with you. Body armor, weapons, and you don't engage unless absolutely necessary. Promise me. I promise. The next 15 minutes were the longest of Amara's life. She and Min Seok reached the Shilla Hotel just as 3 black vans pulled up. Men poured out, armed and dangerous, heading for the entrance. Amara had already called Chisholm, who was hiding in her bathroom, phone clutched in shaking hands. We can't let them get inside, Amara said. We're 2 people against 15, Min Seok pointed out. Then we get creative. Amara pulled out her phone, calling hotel security. This is Mrs. Kang. We have armed men attempting to enter your facility. Lock down now. Every entrance, every elevator. Trap them in the lobby. The hotel security was efficient. Within 60 seconds, gates crashed down, elevators locked, doors sealed. The Kim Syndicate men found themselves trapped in the luxury lobby, security converging, and sirens already wailing in the distance. Police in 2 minutes, Min Seok reported. Jihoon's team in 3. But 2 of the men had made it through before lockdown, heading for the stairs toward Chisholm's floor. Amara moved on instinct, Min Seok flanking her, both of them armed and ready. They met the men on the 14th floor. One raised his gun, and Amara moved, exactly the way Jihoon had taught her, disarming with brutal efficiency while Min Seok handled the second man. It was over in seconds, both attackers subdued, Amara's hands shaking with adrenaline. Chisholm. She ran to the room, found her friend still hiding, terrified but unharmed. You're okay. You're safe. I've got you. By the time Jihoon arrived with his full security team, the situation was resolved. Kim Syndicate members in police custody, hotel secure, Chisholm safe in Amara's arms. Jihoon pulled Amara into a crushing embrace, his face buried in her neck. Never again, he said roughly. Never scare me like that again. You trained me well, Amara said, still shaking. I did exactly what you taught me. You were incredible, Min Seok added. Quick thinking, perfect execution. You saved her. We saved her, Amara corrected, looking at Jihoon. Together. Later that night, after statements to police, after security briefings, after ensuring Chisholm was moved to a safe location, Amara and Jihoon finally collapsed onto their penthouse couch. The Kim Syndicate is finished, Jihoon said quietly. Between tonight's attack and the evidence we've compiled, they're done. No more threats from them. And the others? We'll think very carefully before coming after us. He pulled her closer. You've proven you're not just my wife, Amara. You're a force, a power in your own right. The underground is already talking about Mrs. Kang, who took down 15 men with a phone call and saved her friend from an army. It was 2 men and a lockdown system, Amara corrected with a tired smile. Don't ruin my storytelling. You're a legend now. He kissed her softly. My fierce, brilliant, terrifying queen. Your equal partner, she corrected. Always, he agreed. And this time, they both believed it. 6 months later. The launch of Kang Industries' new African luxury division was the social event of the Seoul season. The venue was Amara's reimagined boutique in Gangnam, now a 3-story flagship showcasing the fusion of Korean precision and African artistry. Nigerian Ankara fabrics tailored in Korean silhouettes, Kenyan beadwork adorning modern jewelry, Ghanaian kente cloth transformed into luxury handbags, Ethiopian coffee service displayed like art installations. Amara stood on the main floor in a custom gown, her own design naturally, that blended both her worlds perfectly. Her natural hair was styled in elegant braids, woven with gold thread, and the ring Jihoon had given her at their real wedding caught the light with every gesture. You look like you belong here, Chisholm said, appearing beside her in a stunning red dress. She'd decided to stay in Seoul, working as Amara's operations manager, finally free of the fear that had shadowed her first visit. Like you built this space from nothing. I did, Amara said with quiet pride. With help, but still, This is mine. Ours, Jihoon corrected, materializing at her other side in a perfectly tailored suit. He slipped an arm around her waist, the gesture possessive and protective and public. The rumors about his supposed homosexuality had finally died, replaced with new stories. The cold CEO who'd fallen impossibly hard for his Nigerian wife, the couple who'd survived scandal and danger to build something real. Yours, Amara amended, smiling up at him. I'm just the beautiful face of the operation. You're the strategic mind, the cultural bridge, and the future of this company, Jihoon murmured. But yes, also beautiful. The evening was perfect. Seoul's elite mingled with African diplomats, business leaders, and cultural figures. The division's first quarter projections were already exceeding expectations. Legitimate partnerships were forming across 3 continents, and underneath, quietly, the underground art network was expanding into new territories with unprecedented efficiency. Chairman Kang approached, his expression still stern, but with a grudging respect in his eyes. The board is pleased with the division's performance. Well done, Mrs. Kang. Thank you, Amara said, though I believe the proper term is Director Kang now. His lips twitched, not quite a smile, but close. Indeed, Director. Min Seok appeared with champagne, grinning broadly. To the power couple who proved everyone wrong. They clinked glasses, and Amara caught Jihoon watching her with an expression that still made her heart race. Love, pride, possession, partnership all mixed together. What? She asked. Just thinking about how far we've come, he said. From a fake marriage to save your mother to this. This was everything. Amara's mother had recovered fully, splitting her time between Lagos and Seoul, delighted to watch her daughter thrive. The boutique, now division, was a success beyond dreams. Amara had earned her place in the Kang family and Seoul's underground, respected by allies and feared by enemies. And Jihoon had transformed too. The cold, untouchable CEO had softened in private, learned to laugh again, found joy in building something with Amara rather than just protecting his empire alone. He still played piano late at night, but the melodies were hopeful now, full of light instead of just darkness. I love you, Amara said simply, the words coming easily now when they'd once been so difficult. I love you, Jihoon replied, kissing her softly despite the crowd watching. My queen, my partner, my home. Later that night, after the launch party ended and they returned to the penthouse, Amara stood at the windows overlooking Seoul, her city now, as much as Lagos would always be home. What are you thinking? Jihoon asked, wrapping his arms around her from behind. That I came to Seoul broke, desperate, willing to marry a stranger to save my mother. And now, she gestured to the glittering cityscape, to the life they'd built. Now I'm Director Kang, co-running a business empire, married to a man I actually love, living a life I never imagined possible. Regrets? None. She turned in his arms. The danger, the scandal, the fear. I'd go through all of it again if it meant ending up here with you. Good, Jihoon murmured, because I have something to tell you. Amara's heart skipped. What? My grandmother is officially retiring. She wants to announce her successor as matriarch of the Kang family. His eyes gleamed with mischief and pride. She's choosing you. What? Jihoon, I'm not even Korean. You're a Kang. You've proven yourself 10 times over. You're the bridge between the old world and new, the person who can take this family into the future. He cupped her face. She's right. You're exactly what we need. Will you accept? Amara's mind spun with the implications. The power, the responsibility, the opportunity to reshape an entire legacy. It was terrifying. It was perfect. Yes, she breathed. Yes, I'll accept. Jihoon's kiss was fierce, claiming, full of promise. When they broke apart, both breathless, he rested his forehead against hers. You know what this means? He murmured. You'll outrank my father. You'll have final say on family decisions. You'll be the most powerful woman in Seoul's underground. Will you be jealous? Amara teased. Are you kidding? I'm already planning how to use your authority to override all his terrible ideas. His grin was wicked. Plus, having a powerful wife is incredibly attractive. Careful, Mr. Kang. Your possessive side is showing. Good. He lifted her easily, carrying her toward their bedroom. Let me show you just how possessive I can be. 1 year after their real wedding, Amara stood in the Kang family estate's formal gardens for the matriarch ceremony. The entire family had gathered, dozens of Kangs from multiple generations, all watching as the grandmother officially passed her authority to Amara. It should have been impossible. A Nigerian woman, an outsider, barely 2 years in the family. But no one objected. Amara had earned this through strategy, strength, and undeniable results. Amara Okafor Kang, the grandmother said, her voice carrying across the assembly. Do you accept the responsibility of leading this family into the future, of balancing tradition with progress, of protecting our legacy while building new paths? I do, Amara said clearly. Then I name you matriarch of the Kang family. May your wisdom guide us, your strength protect us, and your vision shape our destiny. The family bowed, even Chairman Kang, even the most traditional members, because in Kang family culture, the matriarch's word was law. Later, at the celebration, Amara's mother pulled her aside, tears streaming down her face. My baby, she said in Igbo, look at you. I prayed for you to marry before I died. God gave you so much more. God and excellent negotiation skills, Amara joked, but her own eyes were wet. You've built bridges, NWAM, between cultures, between worlds. You've shown that our Nigerian strength can thrive anywhere. I'm so proud of you. Chisholm joined them, raising a glass. To Amara, who came to Seoul to save her mother and ended up conquering an empire. To family, Amara corrected, pulling both women into an embrace. Blood and chosen both. As the sun set over Seoul, painting the sky in gold and amber, Amara found Jihoon at the edge of the gardens, watching the celebration with a small smile. Happy? She asked, slipping her hand into his. Deliriously, he said, though I'm still adjusting to having a wife who outranks me in family hierarchy. You'll survive, Amara assured him. Besides, I plan to be a very benevolent matriarch, mostly. Jihoon laughed, the sound warm and genuine, so different from the cold, controlled man she'd married in that first ceremony. He pulled her close, and they stood together, watching their blended families celebrate, Korean and Nigerian cultures mixing seamlessly, old traditions and new possibilities living side by side. I love you, Jihoon said quietly, for who you are, what you've built, how you've changed everything. I love you too, Amara replied. My dangerous billionaire, my unexpected partner, my home. Always home, he agreed. And as Seoul's lights began to twinkle to life across the city, Amara Okafor Kang, fashion designer, business director, family matriarch, and queen of Seoul's underground, knew she was exactly where she was meant to be. The arrangement had been fake. The love was devastatingly real, and their empire was just beginning. The end. Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed Amara and Jihoon's dangerous love story, you'll love the next one even more. It's just as intense and romantic as you can imagine. So don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. See you in the next one. What would you do if you discovered your arranged marriage husband wasn't who everyone thought he was? Would you run or fight for love? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.